The hand clamped over her mouth was large, smelling of cheap cigarettes and motor oil. Alexis Lex Chen's world exploded into a frantic, muffled scream that died against leather-gloved skin. Her back slammed against the cold brick wall of the coffee shop alley, the breath punched from her lungs. Her grocery bag hit the ground, apples scattering into the gutter. "Easy now," a voice grunted in her ear, hot and sour. "Mr. Cross just wants a friendly chat. No need to make it difficult." A second man materialized in front of her, his smile a thin, cruel line. This was it. This was the abstract danger Dominic had talked about, made terrifyingly, physically real. Her heart hammered against her ribs like a trapped bird. She struggled, a futile twist against iron strength. Suddenly, the man holding her jerked violently. The grip vanished as he was wrenched backward. There was a sickening thud, the crunch of bone on brick, and he slumped to the ground. Marcus Webb, Dominic's head of security, stood in his place, his expression as calm as if he'd just picked up a dropped newspaper. The second man lunged. Marcus moved with terrifying efficiency. A blur of motion, a sharp cry, and the man was on his knees, gasping, his arm twisted at a severe angle behind his back. "Are you hurt, Miss Chen?" Marcus asked, his voice level, his eyes still scanning the alley. Lex could only shake her head, her hands trembling as she pushed herself off the wall. The entire confrontation had lasted less than 15 seconds. How did you... "I'm never far," Marcus said, releasing the man with a shove. "Tell Ivan Cross that the next messenger he sends won't be walking away." The man scrambled up, dragging his unconscious partner, and vanished. Lex stared at the scattered apples, the mundane symbol of her old life lying in dirty water. The fear curdled into a cold, hard shock. Dominic wasn't paranoid. The walls of the world she knew had just crumbled. The morning light was a brutal prosecutor. It speared through the windows, highlighting the wreckage of the night and the 14 missed calls and texts on her screen that glowed with a sinister urgency. Lex's fingers trembled as she scrambled across the couch, breath hitching, heart pounding like she was outrunning a train. Her phone buzzed wildly in her hand, again and again and again. She hadn't even read the messages yet. She didn't need to. The sound alone felt like a countdown to her own execution. Panic, cold and slick, doused the remnants of her hangover. She scrolled, her stomach dropping through the floor. "Sophie, I swear I didn't mean to send it," she shouted toward the kitchen, her voice cracking with panic. "I pressed the wrong name!" Her best friend poked her head out, still chewing leftover fries from last night's bachelorette after-party they'd had in their apartment. "Babe, you were drunk. Degree-level useless. What did you even send?" Lex swallowed hard. "A sext." Sophie froze. "A what?" Lex shoved the phone in her face. "This!" On the screen sat the message. "If you could pick only one, tie me up or let me ride you all night. Be honest." Sophie gagged on air. "Lex, who did you send that to?" Lex closed her eyes, wishing for lightning to strike her dead. "Not you." Sophie quickly snatched the phone, scrolling through the call log. 14 missed calls? From who? Lex took a breath. Dominic. The collision guy. Sophie blinked. Collision guy? You remember, Lex said, pacing, hair a mess, mind spiraling. Months ago. Highway accident. He was the hot guy in the expensive suit. Calm. Bleeding but handsome.
He gave me his number as a thank you. I saved it as Dom, collision guy. And now he thinks you want him to handcuff you? Lex groaned into her palms. Kill me. Before Sophie could reply, Lex's phone buzzed again. A new message appeared right at the top of the notifications. A car will pick you up at 10 a.m. Be ready. Sophie stared at the screen. That doesn't sound sexy. That sounds bossy. Lex's stomach plummeted. We don't know that. Then a second message lit up. This is not optional, Ms. Chen. Sophie whispered. No, that's bossy. Lex's entire body went cold. Oh my God. Okay, Sophie said, gripping Lex by the shoulders. You're not going anywhere alone. What if he's dangerous? The phone buzzed again, and this time they both leaned in. If you're late, I'll come upstairs myself. Lex let out a strangled scream. What does that even mean? That means, Sophie whispered, you're dressing up. Now. Just a few minutes before 10 a.m., Lex stood at her window, staring down at the sleek black sedan parked outside the building. Its tinted windows reflected nothing, like a predator waiting to swallow her. Sophie whispered, So, are we calling the police? What am I going to say? Lex choked. Help, officer! I sent a sext to the wrong man. Sophie winced. Fair. Another buzz. Come out. Lex jumped. Nope. Nope. I can't do this. Lex, Sophie said softly. You don't want him coming up here. Look at that car. This feels serious. Lex forced herself to breathe. If I'm not back in 2 hours, I'll call the FBI, Sophie promised.
Lex stepped out of the building. The driver, a stone-faced man in all black, simply opened the back door. Miss Chen, he said. Polite, but not warm. Lex slid inside. The door shut with a heavy finality that made her throat tighten. The engine hummed. The city blurred past her window. 25 minutes later, they pulled up to the Meridian Plaza. Luxury, steel, glass, and shadows. A place she had no business entering. She was escorted inside with no explanation, her pulse racing. The elevator doors closed, rising fast, her chest tightening with every floor they passed. 18th floor. Penthouse. The doors opened with a soft chime. Lex stepped into a minimalist space that felt both beautiful and dangerous. Floor-to-ceiling windows. A skyline so close she felt like she could reach out and touch the sun. Dominic Volkov stood with his back to her, tall, still, and terrifyingly calm. One hand rested lightly in his pocket. The other held a phone to his ear. He finished the call and turned. Lex felt the world tilt. Same eyes she remembered. Dark, controlled, seeing too much. Same face, sharp jaw, unreadable expression, cheek scar she hadn't noticed before. But now something else existed beneath the surface. Power. Absolute, effortless power. Ms. Chen, he said, voice smooth but edged like a blade. Do you remember me? Lex nodded weakly. The accident, months ago. You said if I ever needed. Right. He took a slow step toward her. You sent a message last night. Her mouth went dry.
Mr. Volkov, I swear, I didn't mean to send it to you. I was drunk. It was a joke for my friend and—
The content isn't the problem. His eyes didn't waver. The problem is that the number you texted is monitored by my security team. 5 men saw your message before I did. Lex froze.
Oh God.
In my world, Dominic continued, perception is everything. They now believe you are personally involved with me. And news travels fast. Her knees weakened.
I didn't know. I swear.
I know. He watched her closely. But Ivan Cross, my rival, will not care if it was a mistake. He will see an opportunity, a weakness. His gaze hardened. You. Lex's voice shook.
So what happens now?
Dominic studied her like she was a chess piece being placed on a board. You have 2 options. Lex swallowed loudly.
Okay.
Option 1, he said calmly. I place full security on you. I control your movements. You do not leave your home, your workplace, or your friend's company without an escort. You live under surveillance, hoping Cross doesn't decide to test my defenses by simply taking you. Lex blinked.
That sounds like a hostage situation.
Option 2, he continued, ignoring the comment. You become my public partner for 8 weeks. Lex stared at him. A controlled narrative, Dominic added. Appearances, events, public displays of closeness that tell Cross you belong to me. In exchange, I guarantee your safety and compensate you for the inconvenience. Lex felt like someone had ripped gravity from the room.
You want me to pretend to be your girlfriend?
I want you to stay alive. Lex sank into a chair before her legs gave out.
Is this real? Am I dreaming? Maybe I'm still drunk.
Dominic slid a glass of water toward her. You are quite sober.
You want me to pretend to be your girlfriend?
The absurdity of it almost made her laugh. I want you to survive the consequences of a mistake you already made, he stated bluntly. This is not a game. It is a containment strategy. She took a long breath.
What are the terms?
$30,000 up front. 30 more at completion. Full protection. And you move into this building today.
Today?
Lex nearly choked.
Are you insane?
Yes, he said without blinking. But that is not relevant. Lex pressed her hands to her forehead.
I can't just uproot my life.
You can, Dominic said. Because if you don't, Cross will. Her heart clenched.
Can I have conditions?
Name them.
No lies about danger. I want to know everything.
Reasonable. Agreed.
I keep my job.
Agreed. No actual intimacy, only what's needed in public. His jaw ticked once. If that's your choice.
And if I want to leave—
Only when I decide it's safe, he finished. Non-negotiable. Lex looked up at him, searching his expression for even a hint of softness. There was none. Why me? She whispered. Dominic leaned forward slightly. Because your mistake made you visible. And in my world, visibility is a threat. Silence stretched. Then she reached out a cold, numb hand. Fine. Deal. Dominic took her hand in a firm, warm grasp. Marcus will take you to your new apartment. You move in tonight. Her voice rasped out a whisper. I can't believe this is happening. It is, Dominic said quietly. And Miss Chen, from this moment on, your life is no longer ordinary. Marcus Webb didn't smile when Lex stepped out of the elevator. He didn't speak either. He simply nodded once, towering over her like a walking fortress, and guided her toward the apartment 3 floors below Dominic's. Lex noticed immediately. This wasn't some random corporate security hire. This man moved like someone who'd been in real danger, real war, real violence. He opened the door for her and gestured inside. Everything was already there. Her clothes, her laptop, her perfume, even her ugly childhood mug with the chipped handle. Lex's stomach dropped. You moved my things? Marcus nodded. Mr. Volkov gave the order. In, what, 2 hours? She whispered. We work fast. Her anxiety spiked. Her life hadn't been uprooted. It had been relocated with surgical precision. Marcus began listing rules. Calm, firm, methodical. You don't open your door unless it's me, Nina, or Mr. Volkov. You don't take public transport. Your phone stays on you at all times. If someone calls and you don't recognize the number, you don't answer. If anything feels off, anything, you notify me immediately. I'm not a soldier, Lex murmured. Marcus looked at her with something softer. No one is, until they have to be. Before she could respond, the door opened, and a tall, stunning woman strode inside wearing sharp heels and a sharper expression. Nina Volkov, Dominic's sister. Her gaze skimmed Lex from head to toe, unimpressed. So this is her, Lex blinked. Hi. I'm Lex. Nina said nothing for a moment, simply circling her like she was studying merchandise. Finally, she folded her arms. My brother doesn't bring people into our world. Ever. So you should understand that I don't trust you. Lex's brows furrowed. I don't want to be here either. Good, Nina said. That makes 2 of us. Marcus cleared his throat. Nina, it's fine, Lex said quickly. I get it. You think I'm here to use him. Nina's eyes narrowed. You're a stranger who sent a sexual message to a man who has enemies. You think I'm worried about you using him? I'm worried you'll get him killed. Lex inhaled sharply. It was an accident. Nina studied her face for a long moment. We'll see. A wardrobe consultant entered with rolling racks filled with evening gowns, blazers, and shoes. Nina gestured at them. Change. You're going to the art district opening on Friday. First public appearance. Don't embarrass him. Lex said quietly. I'm not trying to. You won't have to try. One mistake is enough, Nina said, eyes cool. Lex clenched her jaw. I'll handle myself. We'll see, Nina repeated, then swept out of the room. Marcus paused at the door before following her. Don't take it personally. She protects him more than anyone. Lex exhaled shakily. Lucky me. Friday came faster than she expected. Lex stared at her reflection in the mirror of her new walk-in closet. She looked like another woman. Sleek black dress hugging her curves, hair styled into soft waves, lips painted a bold crimson. She looked powerful, confident. She didn't feel any of those things. There was a knock. She turned. Dominic stood in the doorway. Not in a suit. Armor. Perfectly tailored. Black. Sharp. Dangerous. His presence filled the room like a sudden shift in air pressure. Are you ready? He asked. Her heart threatened to punch through her ribs. Not even a little. A flicker of amusement touched his eyes. You'll do fine. He extended his hand. She stared at it before placing her own in his. His touch was warm, steady, grounding, and terrifying. The gallery opening buzzed with wealthy donors, artists, critics, and men in suits who looked legitimate but spoke in code. Dominic kept a gentle but firm hand on her lower back, guiding her through the room like he'd done this 1,000 times. People stared, whispered, judged. Lex kept her spine straight, remembering Nina's cold voice. One mistake is enough. Then a man approached with a smile so polished it felt like a threat. Tall, blonde, charming in a way that screamed predator, Ivan Cross. "Dominic," he said smoothly, "you didn't mention you'd be bringing such fascinating company." Dominic's hand tightened subtly around Lex's waist. "Ivan, this is Lex Chen." Ivan's gaze slid over her, slow and calculating. "Alexis, lovely name. Tell me, what does an ordinary woman do to catch Dominic Volkov's attention? I imagine the list is short." Lex answered before Dominic could. "Good taste and bad luck." Ivan's brows lifted. Then he laughed, sharp and delighted. "I like her." Dominic moved slightly, positioning himself between them. "You've met her. Conversation's over." Ivan tilted his head, smile widening. "Make sure you keep her close. Wouldn't want anything to happen to such valuable company." Lex felt cold. Dominic's jaw hardened. "Enjoy your evening, Ivan," he said flatly. Ivan drifted away, leaving a trail of tension behind him. Lex exhaled shakily. "Was he threatening me?" "Yes," Dominic said simply. "And you're calm about that?" "He thrives on fear. I won't give him the satisfaction." Lex pressed her lips together. "Is this how it's going to be the whole 8 weeks?" Dominic looked down at her with something unspoken in his eyes. "If we do this right, you'll be safer than anyone in this room." She swallowed. "If we do it wrong?" He didn't answer. The weekend brought more strain. Sophie demanded brunch, insisting she needed to meet this mysterious man. Dominic arrived in a charcoal coat, hair perfect, smile effortless. Sophie's mouth fell open. Oh no," she whispered to Lex. "He's hot, 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 dangerous hot." Dominic extended a hand. "Sophie, I've heard a lot about you." Sophie squeezed Lex's arm behind his back like she was warning her not to run. "So, Dominic, what exactly do you do?" Dominic offered her a polite, harmless smile. "Import logistics. My family owns several companies across the city." Sophie's eyes narrowed. "Is that code for something?" Lex kicked her under the table. Sophie yelped. Dominic pretended not to notice. After brunch, Sophie grabbed Lex's wrist. "Tell me the truth. Is he perfect or dangerous?" Lex stared after Dominic's retreating figure. "I'm still figuring that out." Thursday came with the gala, a swirling storm of elegance, flashing cameras, and strategic smiles. Dominic's uncle, Victor Volkov, was there, his presence heavy, his eyes sharp as he studied Lex. He spoke to her in Russian, words firm and pointed. Lex blinked, confused. Nina translated loosely, but Lex caught the intentional inaccuracies. Nina smirked, enjoying the test. Lex raised her chin. "Tell him I don't speak Russian, but I understand tone, and right now, his feels like he's daring me to fold." Nina's smirk faded. She translated. Victor let out a surprised grunt. Then, in English, he said, "You have spine. Good." From across the room, Ivan watched with a pleased sort of interest, like a wolf waiting for someone to get tired. Lex ignored him. But at the end of the night, Dominic leaned in, his voice soft. "You did well." Lex tried to steady her heartbeat. "Thank you." He didn't smile, but something warm flickered in his eyes. Later that night, Lex couldn't sleep. Too many eyes on her, Too many threats. Too much pressure. She wandered out onto the balcony of her apartment, staring at the city lights. A soft click made her turn. Dominic stood in the doorway, hands in his pockets. "You should be asleep." "So should you," she said. He stepped beside her, looking out at the skyline. "I don't sleep much." "Why?" He hesitated. "Bad memories, bad history." Silence lingered between them, charged and heavy. She whispered, "Am I a liability to you?" He turned toward her. "You were supposed to be." She swallowed, heart pounding. "But you're not what I expected." Their eyes locked, and then he kissed her. Not scripted, not for show, not for survival. Real. Lex's breath caught, her hands gripping his coat as heat rushed through her. Dominic's hand slid to her waist, his lips urgent, like he'd been holding himself back for weeks. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Dominic whispered, "This complicates everything." Lex's heart hammered. "I know." But neither of them stepped back, not even an inch. Lex wasn't sure how long they stood there, too close, breathing the same air, both acting like stepping back would somehow break the world in half. Dominic's jaw was tense, like he was fighting some internal war she couldn't see. Maybe wouldn't understand, but he didn't move away. Then a sharp buzz broke the moment. Dominic glanced at his phone. The shift in him was instant. Warmth gone, replaced by steel. "What is it?" Lex asked quietly. He didn't answer. He dialed someone, voice low and controlled. "Talk." Lex watched his expression darken, eyebrows drawing together like he was calculating 17 moves ahead. "When?" he asked. Silence. Then, "I'll handle it." He ended the call and finally looked at her. His shoulders were rigid. "Go inside," he said softly. "Why?" "Because something just changed." His voice was calm but dangerous. "And I need you out of sight." Her pulse spiked. "Is this about me?" He didn't soothe her. Didn't lie. "Yes." Her breath caught. "Dominic, what exactly is going on?" He ran a hand through his hair, pacing once before stopping in front of her. "Ivan's people were seen outside your old workplace. They've been asking questions about you." She went cold. "Why would Ivan be interested in me?" "He doesn't want you," Dominic said. "He wants leverage. Against me." Lex swallowed hard. "Because you brought me into your life." "No." His voice sharpened, surprising her. "Because you kissed me back." Lex's stomach dropped. "Dominic." "That kiss," he said, stepping closer, told him everything he needed to know. "You matter now, and that makes you a target." Lex grabbed the railing, trying to steady her breathing. "I didn't ask for any of this." "I know." He exhaled. "But it's happening anyway." The balcony door burst open. Marcus stepped out, expression severe. "We need to move her." Lex stiffened. "Move me? To where?" "A safer location," Marcus said. "Ivan made a mistake showing his hand this early. He's planning something." Dominic's jaw tightened. "We're not reacting. We're acting." Marcus nodded. "The team is already downstairs." Lex stared between them. "What team?" Dominic looked at her, voice gentler. "The one that keeps you alive." Her chest tightened. "Dominic, I don't want people risking themselves because of me." Marcus gave her a rare, faint smile. "That's how protection works. You're under our umbrella now. Rain doesn't get to choose who it falls on." Dominic touched Lex's arm lightly. "Pack a small bag." She hesitated. "Where am I going?" "With me." Her breath stilled. "To your place?" It's the safest building in the city that isn't underground, he said simply. Every floor is secured. Every entrance is controlled. No one gets in without my permission. Lex's heart thudded. But Nina, she hates me. He lifted her chin gently. Nina hates everyone at first. That's not reassuring. It wasn't supposed to be. His eyes softened. Go pack. She moved, legs shaky, heart somewhere between racing and collapsing. Inside her apartment, she grabbed what Marcus had told her she might need. Essential clothes, chargers, toiletries. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. When she returned, Dominic was waiting just inside the door, Marcus beside him. Ready? Dominic asked. No, she admitted. But I guess that doesn't matter. It does, he said quietly. Everything about you matters. She didn't know what to say to that. Dominic took her bag, slung it over his shoulder like it weighed nothing, and led her out. Marcus flanked her side, watchful and silent. The elevator ride to the lobby was painfully tense. Lex catching every muscle twitch in Dominic's jaw. Marcus scanning the mirrored walls like they were threats. When the doors opened, 2 black SUVs sat idling at the curb, tinted windows, engines low and rumbling. Men stepped out, 6 total, dressed in dark tactical jackets, expressions unreadable. Not the police, not military, Volkov men. Dominic placed a hand on Lex's back. Stay close. She did. The moment she stepped outside, cold air slapped her skin, and so did reality. This wasn't a date, wasn't a kiss on a balcony. This was danger wrapped in elegance, violence wrapped in a suit. Marcus opened the rear door of the lead SUV. Lex. She climbed in, heart pounding. Dominic joined her, closing the door behind them. The convoy pulled into traffic almost silently. Lex stared out the window. Is this my life now? For now, Dominic said. For how long? Until I tell you it's safe. She swallowed. And if it never is? He didn't answer. They reached his building, a towering modern fortress of steel and glass, with armed guards stationed discreetly near the entrance. Inside, the lobby gleamed with marble floors and soft lighting. Staff bowed their heads as Dominic passed. His penthouse was the entire top floor. When he opened the door, Lex stepped into a space so sleek and controlled, it felt like walking into his mind. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Minimal furniture, dark tones, everything tidy and exact, except the piano in the corner. Unexpected, beautiful, out of place. He noticed her staring. I play, sometimes. She smiled weakly. That surprises me. You think I'm incapable of softness? I think you're complicated. A low huff of amusement. That's generous. She set her bag down. Dominic walked to the bar, poured her a glass of water, and handed it to her. Drink, he said gently. She did. The silence stretched, thick and loaded. Finally, Lex said quietly, Tell me what's really going on. Not the safe version. The truth. Dominic studied her for a long moment, then leaned against the counter, arms crossed. You want the truth? Yes. Ivan Cross has been circling my family for years, waiting for a weakness, looking for a crack. He isn't just a rival. He's a strategist. He doesn't attack with bullets first. He attacks with pressure. Lex's voice trembled. Pressure like, me? You were an unknown variable. Now you're an incentive. So I'm bait. You're not bait, he said. You're leverage he wants to exploit. And you're keeping me here because I don't let people in my orbit die. Lex opened her mouth, closed it. Is this personal? Dominic stiffened. Yes. She hesitated. Because I kissed you? He looked away, and that told her everything. Yes, he said finally. Because of that. Her heartbeat thumped against her ribs. Dominic, I didn't kiss you to get protection. I know. His eyes returned to hers, darker now. That's why it matters. They stared at each other, tension wrapping the room in heat and uncertainty. Then his phone buzzed again. Dominic answered. Speak. Lex watched the muscles in his forearm tighten. Where? He asked. A pause. I'll handle it. He hung up. What happened? She whispered. He looked at her with a blend of anger and something else. Fear. Marcus intercepted 2 men near your old building. They were looking for you, asking where you live now. Her breath seized. No, no, no. Dominic crossed the space in 3 strides, gripping her shoulders firmly. Look at me. She forced her eyes up. You're safe, he said. You're with me. Lex's throat tightened. Dominic, who sent them? You already know. A tear slid down her cheek. She hated that. Hated how vulnerable it made her. But Dominic wiped it away with his thumb. You're not going back there, he murmured. Not ever. Then what happens now? You stay here, he said. With me. Her pulse spiked. And if I say no? He hesitated. Then I'll convince you. She shook her head. You can't control my life. No, he said softly, but I can save it. Lex stepped back, breathing unevenly. Why are you doing this, Dominic? I'm one mistake. One accidental text. I'm not special. His expression tightened. You think this is about a text? Isn't it? No, he said. It's about you walking into my life with fear in your eyes and fire in your voice. It's about you talking back to Ivan Cross when most men twice your size wouldn't meet his gaze. It's about you surviving things you refuse to talk about. She froze. You're not fragile, he said, voice low. You're just tired. Her lips parted. Dominic. Before she could say more, a fist slammed against the penthouse door. Dominic moved instantly, silent, deadly, commanding. His hand went to the gun strapped beneath his jacket. Marcus's voice came through the door. Dominic, it's me. Dominic opened it. Marcus stepped in, expression grim. We have a problem. Dominic stiffened. What now? Ivan wasn't the only one asking questions tonight. Lex felt the air tighten. Marcus continued. Someone else is looking for her. Not from Ivan's side. Dominic's eyes narrowed sharply. Who? Marcus hesitated. Someone who knew her name before the Sext ever happened. Lex felt her blood run cold. No, she whispered. It can't be. Dominic turned to her slowly. Lex, who is looking for you? Her hands shook, her vision blurred. Lex, he said again, voice gentler. Tell me. She closed her eyes, voice cracking. My past. Dominic didn't move, didn't breathe. His entire body went still, like he'd been carved from stone. The only thing that moved was his eyes, sharp, searching, cutting straight through her defenses. Your past, he repeated slowly. Who? Lex's heartbeat pounded so hard she thought it might crack her ribs. She forced herself to meet his gaze, but the words jammed in her throat like glass. Marcus stepped closer, watching her with a level of calm that felt almost surgical. Lex, Marcus said quietly, we need a name. She swallowed, her voice splintering. Miles. Dominic's eyebrow twitched. Who is Miles? She wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly cold. My ex-fiancé. A thick silence fell. Dominic's jaw flexed once. Explain. Lex inhaled shakily. We were together for 3 years. He was charming at first, gentle, supportive, until he wasn't. Her voice broke. He hated it when anyone looked at me, hated when I laughed with friends, hated when I tried to leave the house without telling him. Dominic's expression darkened, slow and lethal. He was controlling. He was violent. She forced the words out. He put me in the hospital once. I told the police I fell. I told my friends I was clumsy. When I finally escaped, he stalked me for months, showed up everywhere. My work, my apartment, my mom's house. I moved twice just to get away from him. Dominic's fists curled, knuckles whitening. And you didn't tell me any of this. It wasn't your problem, she whispered. My problem, he echoed incredulously. Lex, a man who hurt you is hunting for you again. That makes it very much my problem. She looked away. I didn't want you to think I was broken. Dominic stepped closer, forcing her to meet him. You are not broken. You were failed. Her throat tightened, tears burning at the corners of her eyes. Marcus cleared his throat, gentle but firm. We intercepted a private investigator tonight. Paid in cash. Given Lex's old photo. He wasn't from Ivan. He was from Miles. Lex's knees nearly buckled. He's looking for me, she whispered. Dominic cupped her jaw, guiding her to breathe. He won't find you. She looked up at him, desperate. You don't understand. He always finds me. He got into my old apartment once without breaking the lock. He has this way of slipping into people's minds, convincing them to betray me, landlords, receptionists, neighbors. Dominic's voice dropped into a dangerous low growl. He won't slip past me. Dominic. No, he said, firm and absolute. I don't care who he bribed, threatened, or manipulated. If he wants you, he'll have to walk through me. Marcus's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then looked up sharply. Dominic, cameras just picked up someone entering the lobby. Lex's heart plummeted. Who? Dominic demanded. Marcus's face tightened. A man matching Miles's description. Lex staggered back. No. No, he can't be here. He can't. Dominic caught her shoulders before she spiraled. Lex, listen to me. You are safe. Her voice trembled violently. You don't know him, Dominic. He's not rational. He gets obsessed. He creates stories in his head and convinces himself they're real. Dominic's eyes burned. Then he'll learn reality when I put a gun in his mouth. Dominic, Marcus said. He's heading for the elevator. Lex felt like she couldn't breathe. Marcus, Dominic ordered, his voice turning into steel. Seal the penthouse level. Lock every entrance. No one gets off that elevator except you or me. Marcus nodded once and disappeared down the hallway. Lex shook her head, spiraling. Dominic, you don't understand. If he gets close to you, if he thinks you and I, he'll lose his mind. He'll try to kill you. Dominic brushed a strand of hair off her cheek. Let him try. Dominic? He lifted her face gently. You're shaking. Because he ruined my life, she whispered. Over and over. Because I ran and he followed. Every time I thought I was safe, he found a way back. He doesn't love people. He possesses them. And when they leave, tears slipped down her face. He becomes dangerous. Dominic leaned his forehead against hers, voice a low rumble. Then he made a mistake coming here. A heavy clang echoed through the penthouse, the sound of metal locking into place. Marcus's voice sounded through the intercom. Elevator's frozen. He's stuck between floors. Dominic smirked, but there was no humor in it. Good. Lex collapsed onto the couch, covering her face with trembling hands. I don't want him here. I don't want any of this. Dominic sat beside her, pulling her into his chest without hesitation. You're not alone anymore, he murmured into her hair. He doesn't get to terrorize you. He doesn't get to be the shadow in your life. She clung to him. What if he hurts you? Dominic's hand slid down her back, firm and reassuring. He won't. How can you be sure? He tilted her chin so she'd look at him. Because I've been dealing with men far worse than him since I was 15. She let out a shaky exhale. This isn't what I wanted for you. What? He asked. To inherit my nightmares. He brushed his thumb along her cheek. Maybe I want them. She stared at him, stunned. Why would you want my nightmares? Because it means I get to hold you through them. Her breath caught. He wasn't supposed to say things like that. She wasn't supposed to feel things like this. Marcus reappeared, quiet and urgent. We need to move him now, before he starts trying to break through the hatch. Dominic stood. I'll handle him. Lex grabbed his wrist. No, please, don't hurt him. Dominic turned, face unreadable. He hurt you. I don't want more blood on my hands, she whispered. Just keep him away from me. Dominic exhaled, long and slow. Fine. I won't kill him. Then his eyes hardened. But I will make him understand the word no. Lex nodded, fighting another wave of tears. Marcus and Dominic disappeared down the hallway, leaving her alone in the massive, silent penthouse. She wrapped her arms around herself, pacing back and forth, every nerve in her body screaming. 10 minutes passed. 15. 20. Finally, footsteps approached. Dominic re-entered, removing his gloves, expression unreadable. Lex rushed toward him. What happened? She whispered. He's gone. Her heart lurched. Gone where? Out of the city, Dominic said simply. Marcus escorted him to the border. We took his phone, his wallet, his car. He'll think twice before coming back. Lex covered her mouth, overwhelmed. Dominic, he won't touch you again, Dominic said. Ever. She didn't think. She didn't plan. She just threw herself into him, arms around his neck, tears spilling freely. His arms wrapped around her instantly, lifting her slightly off the ground like she weighed nothing. You're safe now, he whispered into her ear. She nodded against his shoulder, breath shaky. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to. She pulled back a little, eyes meeting his. Then what do I do? Dominic brushed his lips across her forehead. Stay. Her chest tightened. With you? Yes. Why? His voice sank to a whisper. Because I haven't wanted someone like this in a very long time. And because losing you... His breath trembled. Terrified me. Lex couldn't breathe. The city lights reflected in his eyes as he leaned in, slow enough to give her time to pull away. She didn't. Their lips met, hot, desperate, trembling with everything they'd been holding back. She clutched at his shirt, pulling him closer. He kissed her like he'd been starving for it, like the world had nearly taken her and he wasn't letting go. When they finally broke apart, breathless, Dominic pressed his forehead against hers. Tell me to stop, he whispered. I can't, she breathed. Good, he murmured, pulling her close again. Because I'm not done with you. She laughed softly, exhausted, relieved, alive. For the first time in years, the future didn't feel like a threat. It felt like a possibility. Dominic held her, the storm outside finally calming, the tension in the room melting into something warm, something dangerous, something new. Lex, he whispered, whatever comes next, we face it together. She nodded against his chest. Together. And for once, she believed it. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what you would have done in Lex's situation. Would you have taken the deal Run? Stayed? I want to know. And hey, subscribe if you want more stories about ordinary people thrust into extraordinary situations, because trust me, we're just getting started. More twists, more danger, more impossible choices coming your way. Don't miss what happens next.